Hello and welcome back to another National League Natter preview show. And I can't believe that we're looking ahead to previewing week 2 already, to be fair. It's going to go fast, I think. It's going to go fast. But joining me, as always, on the preview this evening is my American co-host and co-host at the moment, Lauren. So welcome back to the pod, Lauren. How has your week been? Obviously, from the National League side of you, we've had lots of action and lots of goals in the first week, which is what we want. But I guess from a negative, which we'll get on later on, in our little side quest predictions league bet, it's not looking great for you in the first week, is it really?
You're trying to rub it in already, Aaron. We're not even a minute into this podcast.
I just like to get it out nice and early, you see.
Yeah. But hi, everyone. It's Lauren. I'm not usually American. I'm just American for the next month and a half. And then I'm back to being a good old Stockport girl. But no, it's good to be back. The poshest Stockport girl you ever meet? Yeah, maybe. That's yeah. I'm not even going to pretend like it's not. But yeah, it's been a good week. It's my last 3 days here where I'm working currently, so very sad to be saying goodbye to everybody. But it's been good, yeah. And obviously we've had some excitement in our podcast world, which I'm sure we'll get into in a bit.
Yes.
So it's been a good week, really. How's your week been, Aaron?
Yeah, you know what? Like, obviously, it's been very busy. Obviously, with the football coming back, we've got podcasts coming out of our ears at the minute on the deck. But we like it like that. We like to keep busy, and I think Saturday proved once again why I think the National League is the greatest non-league tier in certainly European football. I can't speak for like South American and whatever else, but it is crazy. Like the amount of goals that were flying in this weekend, the amount of big chances. Obviously, there was a few upsets in there. Obviously, Barnet losing on opening day, which it's only opening day, but like they're supposed to be this year's title favourites, and they've signed a lot of players. And I actually said on the preview to you last week, I think it'll take them a while to bed all these players in. So you would actually think, I actually know what I talk about considering I get paid to do it. So it's nice to actually have something come to fruition that I've said, I guess. But yeah, so apart from that, obviously you had that could be sort of deemed as a shock result. You had obviously my boys Oldham getting off to a flyer, albeit against a newly promoted side, but you can only beat what's in front of you. So I think, for our opening day, I think it was good. I think lots of goals, lots of excitement, and quite a lot of sunshine across the weekend anyway. So nobody can really complain about that, right?
100%. Always a nice day on the start of the season. I always feel like it is a nice day at the start of the season.
Yeah,
sometimes too hot, but no, there was so much excitement in the league. As I always say, like, I don't have to follow the National League because I don't know if you know, but my team is no longer in the National League. Yes. But I still choose to follow the National League and talk about the National League because I just think it's an incredible league where there's so much excitement and fun going on in it at all times. You literally, like, I love our prediction league because like it's just so hard to predict. There's always so much excitement and like unpredictability, and it's great. And yeah, it was just a great start to the season, starting off as we mean to go on. Stupid amount of goals in some of these games as well. You've got the 6 in the Shots game, Shots Forest Green, the 5 in Fylde Moors, 6 in Gateshead Ebbsfleet. Like, some of these games were just flying through the goals.
High scoring. And obviously we don't want to sort of cover too much of a review because obviously I did that with Chris on Monday and that's already come out. But just to get us started, like I give Lauren a task, a mission every week. Really, I pick one game out of the division for her to do a bit of a extensive research, sort of match report, ref review, to start the preview the following week, if that makes sense. I don't even know what I've just said, whether that makes sense, but we'll roll with it. So this week actually ties into something quite important to us, really, like something that I'm going to plug before Lauren starts. So you probably would have seen it by now, or hopefully you would have seen it and listened to some of it by now anyway, because it dropped last night. But yesterday we had the pleasure on a National League Natter to interview and speak to the Sutton manager, Steve Morison, and how just quickly touching upon that, obviously, because we are still quite an infant podcast. We've only done 3 episodes so far. I think it just shows the crazy sort of reach and like the amount of effort and work we're putting in. But Lauren, like, how good was that experience last night? It was amazing, wasn't it?
It was just immense. He's such a great guy, and it was such a good interview. It was really great getting to hear all of the answers to all of our questions, and yeah, it was just ace. I'm still a bit struck over it now. It was amazing. We really appreciated the opportunity to do so, and we hope that you guys enjoyed the interview that we got.
Yes, definitely. And the thing is, like, without trying to be too sort of big-headed and blasé about it, but we do believe with the amount of effort we put into this that it's only the start for us. We've got a few more exciting things in the pipeline. Obviously, nothing I can publicly announce yet, but obviously keep an eye on our social media on X at the National League Natter, and I'm sure that'll be the first place that these gets announced. But on that sort of note, then, your first game of the week for match day 1 was Sutton versus Tamworth. Now, this was a match that we kind of highlighted because it was 2 new boys to the division, probably in opposite ends in terms of, Tamworth going up, Sutton going down. So, yeah, take it away. What did you think from this game? And obviously, more importantly, give us a bit of your ref review as well.
Yeah, so you managed to pick literally one of the 2 games that was a draw this week. You managed to pick one of the 2 1-all draws, which there's not that much excitement to really go through in the game. I think realistically, it's the first game of the season. You can't read loads from it. From what I've read, it was a pretty even game. Both sides kind of similar amount of shots on target, similar possession, Sutton with a bit more possession, but the game just seemed like it could have been anyone's. And the goals were right at the end as well, something like 86 and 90 plus 1. Tamworth, the home side scoring first. But it just, there's not loads to talk about for the game, really. It was a 1-all draw on the opening day. I think Tamworth will be happy with getting themselves settled in to begin with a point, probably more than Sutton, especially with some things that were said in our podcast with our interview. But I think that a 1-all was, pretty even, seemed pretty fair, could have gone either way. But with the goals right at the end, I think it just, I think Tamworth will be disappointed.
It was the late show, really, that game, wasn't it? 86 and 92 were the goals.
Yeah, something like that.
So yeah, really, really sort of late. And but look, as I maybe alluded to quite nicely, probably, I had to do it to a way that I wasn't going to offend big Steve Morison last night, but I probably alluded to it a little bit. I think Tamworth are probably the happier of the 2 sides in terms of that result, and I think Steve's comments to us last night indicated that as well. He said he's never seen more of a sort of slow-paced stop-start game. Obviously, they're playing on a different surface as well, and so I think Tamworth will take that and they'll build courage and confidence, definitely. But yeah, so tell us a little bit about the ref then, and what you sort of think to the ref's performance, and give us a grading out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, so the ref was Abigail Byrne, and to be fair, they didn't have loads and loads of big decisions to make in this game. Other than it being lots of stop and start, there weren't any big decisions to be made where howlers could be made. So as well, from what I've seen, both from my watching of highlights and because obviously I can't go to every game, because as much as I love football, I don't have about 1 billion copies of me to go to every match in the world. Although if I could, I so would. I think it would be such a great use of like 1 billion copies of me, like at every single ground in the world watching a game of footy.
I just shuddered at the thought of 1 billion copies of you, to be fair. I can just
You
about
shudder at, I was about to say, you shudder at the one version of me already. You don't need any more of me. I'm already too much.
That's it. At least she knows.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you still turn up every week and do this with me, Aaron, so I can't be that bad.
I know. That's true. That's true. Anyway, let's take our domestics away from the podcast. And shall we look ahead a little bit? In fact, you didn't give a score. Sorry for the referee. Go on, give your score.
Yeah, I was about to say. Usually, I have a red and a yellow card. I'm not going to give any cards. I think that they did a pretty decent job of the game, kept it moving. Maybe they could have had a few less stoppages here and there, but no bad decisions, no sort of howlers. 3 cards either side, but I think that's more just frustration from the players trying to get something out of a game that basically was trying to go down to the last minute. But I think that the ref did a really good job in the end. So nice. No cards from me.
That's a perfect opening day ref watch right there. So the referee of that game, if you are listening, congratulations, because not many referees will get that glowing review from Lauren this season. So you're
not from me. I can be quite judgmental. I can from the refs.
Exactly. But listen, we are a preview show after all. So shall we get on to looking ahead to Saturday's fixtures, get in week number 2 and pick out some ones that stand out to our eyes? Let's do that.
Yeah, so let's do it.
What I'll do is I'll read the list top to bottom, first of all. So you've got Boston's first home game, in the National League at home to Forest Green Rovers, who obviously were involved in that absolute mental high-scoring 3-3 draw on opening day. You've got Braintree versus Yeovil Town. Now, I'll just make a bit more of an emphasis on this, because I realised some of the comments we got from the review on Monday were that we forgot to mention Yeovil versus Hartlepool. That was the only game we forgot to cover, and my goodness me, and quite rightly so, did the Hartlepool fans tell us in the comments. So I'm going to make sure I do a little bit of more work in the review this week to give Hartlepool a fair share of the limelight for sure. But yeah, so the second game this week is Braintree versus Yeovil, and then you've got Eastleigh versus Fylde. Fylde obviously coming off that very impressive 3-2 victory against Solihull Moors last weekend. Nick Horton doing Nick Horton things with an opening day hat trick, which is absolutely phenomenal. Then you've got Ebbsfleet versus Barnet. Now, these are 2 teams that have kind of come off losses. Probably not Ebbsfleet is probably not a surprise, but I think Barnet's one is a surprise. Maybe the manner of Ebbsfleet's defeat, I would say, was a bit of a surprise. Although it was against Gateshead, I didn't expect anyone to get beat 5-1 on opening day. That is a bit of a worry. So I think both of them sort of sides will be looking to bounce back from in that fixture, and that's potentially one for us to keep an eye on. And then we have Halifax versus Aldershot Town at the first game of the Aquatic Centre, because Halifax are at home. No, I'm joking. I'm not going to run that. I'm not going to run that joke all season. I promise. I'm sorry, Halifax. Halifax supporters. I just seen my opportunity and I ran with it. No, seriously, it's Halifax's first home game of the season against Aldershot, and then, like I said, Hartlepool have a very, very tough fixture on paper. Their first home game of the season against Southend United, which I think will be a tough game, because we've had, you know how much we like Southend on this podcast and how well I've predicted them to do this season. So maybe that's one to keep an eye on. And then you've got Rochdale at home to Dagenham and Redbridge, another one of Lauren's 2 teams that she has a major soft spot for no apparent reason in this division, the Daggers. Then you have Solihull versus Maidenhead United. You have Sutton looking to get probably a bit more, maybe the first 3 points on the board of the National League campaign, but it won't be an easy game because it's against Altrincham. Then you've got my boys are taking a trip to London, a trip down south to go and play Wealdstone away from home. You've got Woking versus Flying Gateshead. I think any team that plays Gateshead at the minute, I'd probably back against, if I'm being honest, but that's just because of how good Gateshead finished last season and appear to have started this season. Nothing against Woking. And then you've got York City versus Tamworth rounding off the games in game week number 2. So from that sort of list, Lauren, is there any straight away that are kind of jump into your eyes for any specific reasons?
I mean, obviously you've got 2 games which again are new versus new. You've got Boston and FGR, and you've got Braintree and Yeovil. So I think they'll be exciting to see how the new teams coming in are finding the league. I think, I don't know, I like the look of Halifax versus the Shots. Halifax, I think, I might be wrong here, but I think they won. Yeah, they did. They won 2-1 against Barnet, so obviously they'll be happy with that. Yeah, they'll be happy with that. And obviously, Shots, I don't know why I like them, but I think Shots are going to be up there again this season because they were battling really well at the end of the last season. So I think that could be an exciting one of seeing where they're going to start off this new season and see if they both start off fighting again. Whether that's going to be a high scoring one or not, or whether they're going to cancel each other out in a draw, I think will be interesting to see.
Nice.
But yeah, I think they're the ones that I like the look of. I think Woking and Gateshead, realistically, like Gateshead won 5-1 last weekend, and like the 2 of us predicted a 4-1 and a 3-1. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if we see another Gateshead strong game here, and that'll be me jinxing them, and then they're going to lose like 6-0 or something stupid, knowing me. But yeah, I think for me, some of the more exciting ones are those Halifax Shots games and the 2 new pairings at the beginning, Boston and FGR, and Braintree and Yeovil.
I think for me, sort of looking a little bit differently, I think straight off the bat, one of the big ones that jumps out to me is Southend versus Hartlepool, just because both teams, got off to winning starts in the league last weekend, and I think both of them will be up there as well. I think both are going to be sort of playoff contention. And I also, obviously, I'm not just saying that to give more airtime to our Hartlepool fans, but also I think that will be quite a nice footballing fixture as well. I think it's 2 teams that can play nice football. I fancy that. So that's one that I definitely keep my eye on. Another one that's kind of catching my attention straight off the bat, for as much that it might surprise you, I think Rochdale versus Dagenham and Redbridge. I think obviously I know they played Boston, and like we were saying before, it's so hard to sort of gauge the level of newly promoted sides this early on because it's kind of a complete different step up. But they went to Boston last weekend, Rochdale, and dismantled them, and they looked really good. So I think that'll be a really interesting battle. I think a sort of calm pre-season and a good start to the season will have done Rochdale a world of good, and I expect them to be up there as well. And then probably on the flip side, you could also maybe argue that you're looking at Ebbsfleet and Barnet in terms of, like I said, as I was reading it down, both suffering defeats. Probably 2 different types of defeats on opening day. With Barnet's kind of shock, even though the one thing I would argue and give a lot of credit to Halifax to is the amount of times we said last year that Halifax had the capabilities to be able to frustrate a team, frustrate a bigger team, do this to teams, and the amount of times he did it. I don't know whether it's a shock in that sense. I think it's more just because everyone was hyping up Barnet signings and like, oh yeah, they're going to win the league. And look, it's not happened on match day 1, but that doesn't mean that it won't happen for the next 45 games. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how both of them teams bounce back from the defeats, because obviously Barnet's was a bit more of a slender one, but then Ebbsfleet got absolutely battered by Gateshead. So I think the response from both of them teams will be worth keeping an eye on for sure. In terms of like a game of the week for you, considering it's week number 2, and I'm feeling a bit generous today, Lauren, would you like to pick your own game of the week?
Oh, decisions. This is so hard because the thing is, like we say, it sounds like I'm just hyping up this league, but actually I feel like any game would just be an exciting watch, an exciting thing to learn about. You know what? For what you've... No, I'm going to stick with my guns. I'm going to go for Halifax shots, I think, as my one. I think that'll be nice. I'm excited for that one. So I'm going to give myself that one. I'll treat myself. Why not?
Nice. So that's what we've got to look forward to for next week, definitely. Just so we're clear, because I realised that I made a little bit of a mistake and I don't want people coming for me. I actually said, both. I said Southend won their opening game last weekend. They actually drew 1-1. So I've rectified my mistake now. I apologise. So hopefully there'll be no angry fans coming at me. These mistakes can happen when we're trying to do a full league, especially this early on. But yeah, I think just before we look ahead a bit more, I think obviously in the last day as well, related to them sort of teams we were just talking about. Southend have won their appeal for the £1 million National League bond. Now, this was a sort of this was sort of like a bond put in place to sort of guarantee that they could manage and pay the finances for this coming season. Basically, the league set out a load of conditions for Southend to follow to be able to, compete the way they want to compete. And the Southend appealed this at an arbitration panel, and the result means that the bond has now been taken away. So, like I said, Southend have won that appeal, which is obviously good news for them. And they've got a takeover now. They look like they're in brighter sort of waters and brighter sort of times. So hopefully that this is the last sort of non-footballing issue that we have to speak about with Southend. But you can never say never. But I just thought I'd mention that because it happened on the 12th of August. So it was after we did the review, so I didn't get time to touch upon it then. So yeah, that's some news coming out of Southend this week. But in terms of the rest of the week, and if there's anything that I've missed in terms of that I think we should look out for, let me just have a look 1 second. I also think anytime Fylde play this year, I think I'm going to sort of have one eye on it, just because I banged the drum a lot last season about how they have the players that shouldn't be anywhere near where they finished, Nick Horton included. And every time I watch Nick Horton take to a football field, I can't help but be a bit in awe. It was a bit like Chris Clark for Alty last year, yeah. In my opinion, he has them sort of similar ability levels to be able to carry his team when he needs to. So that's one that I'm definitely looking forward to myself. Obviously, like you say, the first one on the list is two teams new to the division, so that's always interesting. And then I think I'm going to be a little bit biased, but I am looking at Wealdstone versus Oldham, because our last couple of trips to Wealdstone haven't been the easiest ones, but we seem to have had a settled pre-season with the right players coming in at the right areas, and we started off on fire on Saturday. Really, it could have Lauren is probably going to say, "Oh, he's been biased here," but I'm genuinely not. Hand on heart, that game could have been 5 or 6-0 if we would have took the more chances. That's how good I think we were. So it'd be interesting to see if that sort of momentum carries on and we can actually put the sort of voodoo that Wealdstone seem to have on us to one side and get 6 points from 6. So that is one that I'm definitely looking forward to for sure. But shall we just let you lovely listeners and viewers hear from our wonderful sponsors who without we wouldn't have been renewed for a second season. So we really appreciate everything they do for us, and we will get back with you in a couple of minutes. Right then. So now I think this is always everyone's most exciting part of the podcast, the second half of the podcast, really. And this is what I just want to hear you say those words, Lauren, because we knew from Sunday, I messaged Lauren on Sunday and I was like, yo, check the predictions. I think I've won. Right. And not only have I won, I've absolutely, some might say thumping, some might say battered, whatever you want to call it. I've won by a lot of clear points here. So do you want to take us through, first of all, like your thoughts and feelings on your opening weekend loss and the sort of score lines that got us to this point, and then we can obviously look ahead to this week.
Yes. So for our lovely audio listeners, whilst Aaron was telling you just how much he'd battered me, I was looking very disappointed and very ashamed of myself. I just thought I'd clarify that for those who cannot see my currently very sad and pretending not to be embarrassed face, because I was hyping up how last season I absolutely thrashed Aaron in the predictions, and I was like, it's going to be the same this season. It's going to be over by like halfway through when you literally can't get the lead back. And I've shown myself up. So maybe I shouldn't have gloated that much, and maybe I jinxed myself. But, you know, I'm accepting it. It's, you know, Stockport hadn't won for like the first game of the season in 5 seasons, and we still got promoted. I still feel like it's a chance that I can do. I can come back from this. I can win the prediction league. And I won't have to get a tattoo from you. You're going to have to get a tattoo from me. I still think it's possible. I still think it's doable. It's okay. Yes. It's okay.
I feel like for the listeners that can't see it, that was like a proper rallying call, but not to anyone, just for Lauren herself. I feel like she needed to vocalise that to make her feel like she was still in the fight. And of course she's still in the fight. You know. Of course she's still in the fight, by the way, because as much as I rib her and take the mick, it is only game week number 1. There's 45 other game weeks for us to be doing this. So, you know, there's plenty of football to be played, but it is just nice to take the early upper hand, especially in the manner that I did, because just remind the listeners of the actual final score of week 1, just so we're clear, please.
Yes. So, the predictions, you know, we did pretty decently, as in not really at all, if we actually look at the scores. The final scores, and I can run through the actual predictions we did if we want, but the main important things, okay, we'll do that first. Okay, so for each of the games, the predictions went as follows. For the Fylde Solihull Moors game, I thought Solihull would win 3-0. You thought that Fylde would win 2-1. Fylde won 3-2. So you get 2 points there, and I get none. In the Aldershot Forest Green Rovers game, Aldershot, I said that it would be 2-1 to the Shots. I backed my boys. They didn't pull through for me. You thought that there would be a draw. There was a draw. 2 points to you.
Nice.
In the Altrincham Woking game, I said Alty would win. You said that Woking would win. I actually get 3 points here because I said it would be a 1-0 win, and it was indeed a 1-0 win. So, you know, we're currently not looking too bad in terms of the scores. It's 4-3 at the moment. You know, you'd think that's not too bad. Just wait. It gets so much worse. It gets so much worse. We both thought it would be 2-1 to Rochdale this against Boston. It was a 3-0 win in the end, so we both pick up 2 points there, but they technically cancel out, but it's okay. So it's currently 6-5. Then we have Daggers and Wealdstone. I should have backed my boys here, but I didn't. I thought that would be a draw. I thought it would be a 1-1 draw. You thought that Daggers would win 3-0. Daggers 1-2-1, so you get 2 points. It's already not looking so good for me now, is it? 8-5, I think it is. I'm doing this all in my head. I know the final scores. Gateshead and Ebbsfleet. Now, we both said Gateshead were going to win. And I said 3-1. You said 4-1. It was 5-1. So you get 2 points there. I get 1. Suddenly, my brain has actually lost what the numbers were, but that's okay because I know the final score. Then we have Halifax and Barnet. You said Barnet would win. I said it was going to be a 0-0 draw in the end. I don't know where that one came from. But so neither of us get the point there. In the Maidenhead and Eastleigh games, I said that Eastleigh would win 3-2. You said that it would be a 1-1 draw. So I get 2 points there as Eastleigh won 2-0. In the Oldham Braintree game, we both said that Oldham would win. I only went 1 though, and you went 2. So you get 2 points, I get 1 point. In the Southend York game, we both said that Southend would win, and Southend drew in the end with York 1-1, so neither of us get the points there. Tamworth Sutton ended in a 1-1 draw. I said that Sutton was going to win. You said Tamworth would win, so we also have no points there. And then for the final. Yeah,
I said I was sorry.
Sorry for backing the other team. Yeah, that's fair. And then the Yeovil versus Hartlepool. I said it would be a 2-2 draw. You said it would be a 1-0 win to Hartlepool, and it was indeed a 1-0 win to Hartlepool. So you get all 3 points there. So when you top up all of the results, I get 9, which is the equivalent of getting 3 of the predictions completely correct, which isn't a great result, I'll be honest. You got 15, which is the equivalent of having 5 of the predictions perfectly correct. So, I don't feel great about that. And I'm going to move on from that quickly, other than just to remind you and let you rub it in for half a second that you beat me by 6 points this prediction day. But luckily, it doesn't matter how many you won by, just that you won 1. So it's 1-0 to you in the prediction league so far. I'm just going to accept the loss, accept the fact that I should have backed my boys, because if I did, then I would have got more points. Yeah.
Just because we are a little bit rogue on this podcast and we of course we structure, but we like to just go with the flow. For anyone that wasn't here last week listening to the first preview show, first of all, why? It's available on Spotify. Please go back and listen. Second of all, the reason why Lauren probably looks so nervous is last year we decided to just do the old, or we have to, the loser has to wear the winner's football club jersey, which never actually materialised, by the way. But
it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen when I'm back in England.
That's not my fault. That's Lauren's ridiculous packing or parceling, whatever it was. Anyway, that's for another day. So we decided. Well, I decided, and Lauren was brave enough to take the challenge. I decided for season 2 and the first season in our new home of the Sport Deck, we were going to up the stakes. And it's fair to say I could have done anything, but I don't think Lauren was really sort of expecting this from me, because I didn't tell her this was my idea before.
You surprised me on the pod.
Yeah, I surprised her with it on the pod, and you can get her reactions from the YouTube channel if you wish. But we have decided the winner gets to pick a tattoo for the loser to then have to carry out. So this could be anything. It could be football related. It could be something to do with our friendship. It could be I could literally just make Lauren get the National League Natter logo somewhere on her arm if I really wanted to. I could.
That's kind of cute. I might do that anyway.
The options are endless, really. So yeah, that's probably why she's sweating so early, because neither of us, stupidly as well, Or do you actually? You have one now, do you? Do you have a tattoo?
No, I don't have a tat. I'm still
So
tatless for the moment.
neither of us have a tattoo, and we both committed to letting the other person do our very first ever tattoos. That's how crazy we are on here. But yeah, so that was just a bit of a backstory, really, to the stakes. But, shall we get into your shot at redemption and do match day 2 predictions?
Yeah, you know what? I reckon we do. I reckon we give it a go. I've just got up the graphic from our X, which if you don't follow us is at NLNatter on Twitter /X whatever it's called. And I've just seen me giving it the big one going, you're going down. So I'm more disappointed in myself, the fact that I've literally got it on social media going like you're getting thrashed. But anyway,
typical Stockport supporter running the mouth when it's too early. You know what I mean? That's what it is there, really.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I've got to stick with my roots, haven't I? I've got to stick with my roots.
That's it.
Anyway, let's look at this Saturday.
Yes, let's look at this weekend. Considering you went first last week and it didn't go very well for you, I'm going to stick with that, and I'm going to apply the pressure where it goes. And you can go first every week now going forward, please.
Really? Oh, you say that till I win this week, and then suddenly you'll go, "Oh, I'll go first. I'll go first." I know you, Aaron. You've been found out.
I can just hear a lot of excuses and noise, to be fair. Like, I don't, just carry on.
So rude. Okay, I'm going to say that Forest Green are going to win this. Sorry, I've got an inflatable cow at the door. That's interesting. Yeah, they've gone now. Someone just came up with an inflatable cow and stuck it in the massive window of my door.
Nice.
Anyway, right, Forest Green's going to win.
You might want to provide a little bit of context for that before we go ahead. So Lauren is currently on Camp America in America, and you said it is, what is it? Is it Western Wednesdays on camp today?
Yeah, it's Western Wednesdays oh my goodness, because it's the final week. We've got themed days every day, and it's Western Wednesday today. So I've got myself a very American cowboy hat. So I'm fully dressed up, and someone came dressed as a farmer and has an inflatable cow. Hence the inflatable cow in the door.
If you've ever wondered what Jessie from Toy Story would look like in real life, this is the vibes that Lauren is giving me right now, to be honest.
Oh, I've got the boots and everything. Hold on. Oh, I've got everything. Look at the flexibility or lack thereof that I have currently.
I'm just
in jeans that are far too tight.
Our editor, by the way, when he comes back to watch this, he'll be like, "What the hell is going on here?" But this is what we do at National League Natter. You know, it's just two friends having a laugh talking about football. But
yeah, it's the way it should be.
Before we get too sidetracked with your outfit, shall we get back to predictions?
Yes. So I think Forest Green are going to beat Boston. As much as I really want to see Boston do well this year, this season, and I think they will. I think they're just going to have to get used to the league first. And I think Forest Green got a couple of goals in them yesterday, so the players are last week. So I think the players are going to have gained a bit of confidence. And so I'm going to give them a 2-0 win, I think, Forest Green. You'll have to let me know, by the way, if my mic cuts out because my headset has started to die, but that's okay. Braintree versus Yeovil, I'm going to say that it's going to be a 1-1 draw. Nice. Don't have any reason for that. I think I'm just going to say it.
We love a fence sitter on this podcast.
It says you. I'm pretty sure you were chief fence sitter last season. Maybe I shouldn't fence it so that I actually win some of these predictions, but it's whatever. It's whatever.
Just be careful. careful for the splinters in your bottom. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure I'll be fine. I'm sure I'll be fine. I'll get off the fence soon enough. I'm going to give Fylde the win against Eastleigh.
Nice.
I'm going to give it a 3. Is it going to be a 3-2 game? No. It's going to be a 2-1 game.
Oh,
I
she's
think.
back again. She's back against the girl that can't make a decision. She did this all of last season, and she did this last week as well. She'll go one way, and then she'll be like, "No," and then pick the
Well,
complete.
I'm still giving Fylde the win. Okay. I just thought that it was better to vocalize my thinking rather than just thinking just in my head. I thought people would like to see, oh, why is she being silent for a sec? Because she's really considering and pondering her decisions here. It's a really thought out process, this is.
Okay.
Barnet, Ebbsfleet, I'm going to give Barnet the win. I think they're going to try and bounce back here. And it's going to be 2-0 to Barnet in the end. That's what I'm going to say. Shots versus Halifax. Oh, I'm going to back my Shots again and hope that they bring some magic. I'm going to say it's going to be 1-0 to the Shots. So Halifax are going to lose 1-0 at home. Hartlepool, Southend. I am going to say, I'm going to call this it's a hard one. I'm going to call this a 2-2 draw,
Nice.
2-2 draw with Hartlepool and Southend. Daggers, Rochdale versus Daggers. I'm going to back my boys because I didn't at the weekend and I should have done. Although I do, there's no reason other than that, really. I think Daggers won at the weekend. They'll have some confidence going into this. And although, where are we?
Rochdale.
Yeah, Rochdale also won as well. But I think that, I'll back the Daggers. I don't know what I said they'd win by, but I'm going to give Daggers a 1. No. I'm going to call that the 3-2 game. I'm going to say Rochdale are going to get 2 and Daggers are going to get 3.
I wish we had live video access on this podcast because me just to watch you ponder in your own head whether you're doing the right thing or not, it's a sight to behold, really.
Yeah, there's literally I feel like you can see in my massive forehead, which is more of a 5 head, I feel like you can see my cogs spinning as I think about this. Okay, we've got Solihull versus Maidenhead. I'm going to give Solihull the win here. I backed them last weekend and I shouldn't have done, but I'm going to back them again. And I'm going to give them a 2-0 win at home. So that's Solihull winning 2-0 at home against Maidenhead. Sutton versus Alty. I'm going to... I feel like I've got such great thinking faces. I feel like these are some, because I don't really know what I look like when I'm thinking until I look back at these, and they're very interesting. But I'm going to give Sutton 2-1 win here. What were you going to say?
She doesn't tend to think a lot either, to be fair, so quite rare,
That's so rude. That's so rude. That's outrageous, that. Maybe I won't come back to England and finish my degree. Maybe I'll just stay out here. But then I don't have to think. Then I can prove you right.
Then I'll never get the stop putting out your shirt, so maybe we're even.
True. Very true. Right. Well, just for that, I really fancy backing against Oldham, just for you being rude.
Listen, you did it every week last year's season anyway, so I'm used to it.
That's true. But no, I'm going to give Oldham the win here. I think that they're going to have the confidence from the last game. I think that they're going to carry through that, especially because Wealdstone also lost. I think that that's going to go through well. So I'm going to say that Oldham are going to win 2-0. Woking versus Gateshead, I just can't see anything but Gateshead winning. And like I say, it'll end up being 6-0 to Woking. Like, I know it will do. I know, like, it always happens to me that I'm so confident about one of them and then they just do the opposite. But I'm going to say it's going to be 3-1 to Gateshead again, which is what I predicted last time. And then York versus Tamworth, I think York is going to get the win, just a 1-0 win for York at home. And that's
Hang on,
all of my predictions from this
correct
week.
me if I'm
Yeah.
wrong, but just to save us from potential upset again, am I right in thinking you've missed Hartlepool versus Southend?
No, I said that was a 2-all draw.
Oh, right, okay, good.
Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
It's good that you've just repeated that anyway, because we don't want to upset them, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, nice. So do you want to read your list back top to bottom now, or should we do it at the end when I've done mine?
We'll do it at the end and we can compare whether they're the same or different.
Okay, nice. Right, let me get the list up. Bear with me, ready to take a 2-0 lead. So
in your dreams.
So. Boston versus Forest Green. Now, I think Forest Green will start. The motor has sort of false started a couple of times on opening day, and I think they're ready. I think they're roaring now. So I think that'll be a 2-0 away win for Forest Green.
Oh, copying me right from the bat, are we?
Ooh. Braintree versus Yeovil. I think that will be a 1-1 draw.
Okay. Copy me again. You just doing mine.
Eastleigh versus Fylde. I do think, for as much as I think Nick Horton is a superhero, I do think Eastleigh will come out on top here, but I do think it'll be very tight, and I think it'll be 1-0 Eastleigh.
Okay.
Yes. Now, Barnet versus Ebbsfleet, just for the sake of me not getting too carried away and needing to be grounded a little bit, I think Barnet are going to come flying now. I think they've got a point to prove. And I think, unfortunately, for the Fleet's expense, I think it could be quite messy. So I am going to go a resounding. Do I go one high or keep it what I had in my brain originally? Ooh. No, actually, I'm really sorry, Ebbsfleet fans, but I think this week will be this game will be this week's high scorer, and I think Barnet will win 4-1.
4-1, wow.
Halifax versus Aldershot. I think this will also be a 1-1 draw.
Okay.
Hartlepool versus Southend United. Now, obviously, two teams we've talked about earlier that we expect to be up here, but I actually think Southend will get a very narrow away victory here. Sorry for our Hartlepool supporting fans, but I think Southend will do the job, and I think it'll be 2-1 to the visitors. Rochdale versus Lauren's beloved Daggers. Again, as much as it pains me to say it, but I was impressed with Rochdale opening day, and putting my Oldham Athletic rose-tinted glasses aside, as much as I might not like them as a fan, as a journalist and as a broadcaster, I think they are going to go from 2-6 from 6, and Rochdale will get a comfortable 2-0 home victory. Solihull versus Maidenhead. Now, this one is for our friend and fellow social media admin, Callum, who is a big Solihull Moors fan, and I know me and Chris had banter with him on the podcast on Monday and said that we were going to do a one-off podcast episode at the end of next season when they inevitably bottle the promotion places again, and we're going to call it Solihull Moors Serial Bottlers. But before we get there, I actually think they'll win this one quite comfortable, and I think it'll be a 3-1 win to the Moors.
3-1 win. I've got you.
Sutton versus Altrincham. I think now this is a bit hard not to go with the heart now because we've built up such a good rapport with our friend Big Steve Morison at Sutton United, and he was so lovely to us. My head is telling me to go for a Sutton win, but I know Altrincham have lost Prick on Clark and I don't look as strong as he did last year. But I do think. No, I'm gonna, for the sake of wanting to keep everyone happy, I'm gonna take my rightful place on the fence and go for my third draw in these set of fixtures, and I will say 1-1 in this fixture.
You called me the fence sitter.
Listen, sometimes you got to sit on a few fences to get the wins, you know. But then, obviously, Wealdstone versus my boys, Oldham Athletic. I am hoping for a bit of momentum, a bit of confidence. If we play like we played last weekend, I think this will be quite a routine away victory, and I'm gonna get us to score 3 goals in back-to-back weekends, and I'm gonna go 3-1 to Oldham Athletic.
Nice.
Woking Gateshead. Now, I think Gateshead will win, granted, but I think Woking, from what we've seen of them last year, and like the steely determination and grit and sort of like willingness to stay in games, I think this will be a lot tighter than when Ebbsfleet, quite frankly, just decided to roll over and let them tickle the belly. I think Woking will lose this game, but I think they'll put up a good fight, and I think it'll be 2-1 to the Heed. And then final game of match day 2, I think York City will get a comfortable 2-0 victory.
Very nice. So that is our predictions for game week 2, or whatever this is already. So would you like me to run through our predictions next to each other and we can see how alike we are, Aaron?
Yes, let's do that, please.
Okay, in our first fixture, Boston versus Forest Green Rovers, we both went for a 2-0 win to Forest Green. In our second fixture, Braintree Town versus Yeovil Town, we both went for a 1-1 draw. Look at that. Look at us being so alike. This is the first time we change. In our third, which is Eastleigh versus Fylde, I went for a 2-1 win to Fylde, and you have gone for a 1-0 win to Eastleigh.
Nice.
So changing up there. Ebbsfleet versus Barnet. I have gone for a 2-0 win for Barnet, and you've gone for a 4-1 win for Barnet. So you've got a 3-goal difference. I have a 2-goal difference. So we shall see whether either of us are right, or if Ebbsfleet come out and thrash Barnet 8-0, which, could be the case. Well, maybe not. 8-0 might be a bit of a stretch, but, you never know in the game of football, do you?
It's National League football. You never know.
Exactly. For Halifax versus Aldershot, I've gone for an Aldershot win, just a 1-0, and you have gone for a draw. So different results there for us, different sharing of the points. And we've got the reverse of it for Hartlepool versus Southend, where I've gone for the draw, but I've gone for a 2-2 draw there. And you have gone for a 2-1 win to Southend. So you've got Southend getting all the points. I've got a draw. Rochdale versus Daggers. I've gone 3-2 to the Daggers, and you've gone 2-0 to Rochdale.
Also,
so,
can we just appreciate, right, how professional I'm being here, like, because anyone that listened to this podcast last year, I took a couple of childish, immature swipes at Rochdale in a couple of episodes, but I've actually gone for them to pick up 6 points from the opening 2 games, because I actually predicted them to win last weekend as well. Am I feeling all right, do we think, Lauren? What's going on?
I think you're missing me in England. I think this is the issue. My effect of being in America is you're just trying to be nice to everyone to get us back.
Maybe that's it. Maybe, who knows?
But no,
Yeah, I mean, Rochdale, I'm hoping that you have a really good season, especially with everything that happened on and off the pitch last season. I would really like a nice season for them.
Yeah, me too. Apart from when they come to Scotland, when they come to Boundary Park and we go to Scotland.
Yeah. Then whatever, With Solihull Moors and Maidenhead United, we've both gone for a Solihull win, both a goal difference of 2, but I've gone 2-0, and you've got Maidenhead getting a goal with a 3-1 win to Solihull. In Wealdstone versus Oldham, we've both gone for an Oldham win, also with a 2-goal difference. I've gone 2-0 to Oldham, and you've gone 3-1. I've missed Sutton and Alty there, haven't I? In the Sutton and Alty game, I have down that Sutton are going to win 2-1. And you have the Alty are going to draw 1-1 there. So we've got difference of opinion there. I've gone for a Sutton win and you've gone for a draw. In the Woking Gateshead game, we've both gone for a Gateshead win, although I've gone for a slightly stronger win with a 3-1 versus your 2-1 there. And in the final fixture of our game week, we have York versus Tamworth. We've both gone for a York win. I've gone 1-0. You've gone 2-0.
Nice, very nice. And look, I think that kind of rounds us off quite well. I think there's a couple of things I just want to mention before we finish. So I think we should plug our wonderful interview one more time with Steve Morison, the Sutton United manager. You can find that on anywhere you listen to your podcast, or you can find us on YouTube at National League Natter, and there's direct links to that interview on our Twitter page. Lauren, I'm going to put you on the spot, but sum up the interview in 3 words for any listeners that might be debating going and listen to it.
Insightful. I thought that was a really good word then, and now I've got to think of 2 more.
Put that uni degree to some good use.
I've not been there for like 2 months. Yeah, insightful. Friendly. And oh god, another one. Just excellent. It was so good. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, so the one thing I would say is I promise you it's worth more of a listen to how long Lauren took to find them words. It's definitely worth more of a listen than that. So yeah, you can go and find it at all the great places you can listen to your podcast, and on YouTube and on our social media account, which is, I would just like to give a big shout out to our, like I said, our social media admin and the people that have followed us from last night, because we are kind of beginning to grow that page exponentially at the minute, and we're not too far away from. I think I was chatting to Ryan, and he's better with analytics and stuff like that, but we're hoping within the next sort of 10 to 12 days we will hit 1,000 followers on that account, which, if you think about it, we've only been running it properly since like mid-July maybe. So that is some crazy growth, and obviously the any like listens and shares we get from here directly impact that as well. So it would mean a lot for us to get to that milestone, wouldn't it, Lauren? For sure.
Oh, so much. It would be so appreciated.
Yes. And then the final 2 little bits of information I am going to do, and then we're going to say goodbye. So obviously this is the preview show that comes out on a Friday. We have had to record it on a Wednesday evening, but you will be listening to it on a Friday this week. But I will be back on Monday to dissect all of the game week 2 fixtures with our new lovely co-host Chris, the Barnet fan, which is always quite an interesting dynamic for me this season now, because again, it's supposed to be 2 teams going for promotion, so that is always worth a listen. And obviously, Lauren, you'll be joining in me again on a week today, so a week on, no, maybe a week tomorrow, probably actually, when we go back to normal scheduling. So yeah, so you do every preview and Chris does the review with me on Monday, but you will get one consistent voice in both podcasts, which for you is my lovely Mancunian dulcet tones. So how lucky are you? But I think that is everything from us. Let me just think. No, actually, I've just thought of one final thing. We might as well let the cat out of the bag. We're not going to promise anything yet, but us and Ryan are kind of, so both me and Lauren are going to be in America at the start of September. So we are working on, we're hoping and working on doing our National League Natter podcast, both from stateside. Now, whether it happens that we'll manage to get together in person to do it, we don't know. But we will both definitely be stateside to do that. So we're going to do a podcast. Maybe even we might even do it live from America. We might even do it a live stream for that one episode. Who knows? But like I said, we've got lots and lots planned for the National League Natter. So get across our socials, get us on Spotify, and until next week, we have been National League Natter, and we will see you next week.
Bye, everyone.